Welcome to the Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box. Welcome to the Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. The Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast, brought to you by the Hot Take Hot Box, is here to talk about UFC Atlantic City. Atlantic City was once a great place. Now, and the UFC and the New Jersey State Athletic Commission was once a great establishment, I think. I don't know. But some of the guys, I don't know if Jason Herzog, or I don't know who was busy this weekend, but they sent the absolute B, C, and D crew down to Atlantic City to take care of business. My name is Matt McSweeney. I am joined by the Ty Capone. Ty has had a lot of changes going on these last few weeks. That's why we've not been able to get together to do a pod. But Ty, how are you feeling? You're in a new location.
Yeah, I'm back with the Pops, the OG. So I had to relocate a little bit. That's still going through that. It's quite the process. That is not enjoyable at all. Moving sucks. It's terrible. But big news, I will be back in the Jersey, the 856, in about 2 weeks for UFC 300. So we can get something cracking there. Hopefully we have some news to give to all the fans. We'll have like a live show, hopefully.
Maybe
Still going through them.
We'll have to cook something up.
We'll have to cook something up. They should let us in the kitchen. Hopefully not whoever was in the kitchen this weekend.
Who let bro cook this weekend?
No, I don't want to know. I'm not hungry anymore. But me and you are going to get together. That'll be fun. I'm excited for that. I haven't seen you in a minute. So that'll be fun. I'm excited for that. That card is going to be insane. It's going to take a long time to get there because we have another card this weekend. That's going to be a real doozy. What do we have? Mr. Alexander the Great co-main event. That should be fun.
You know what's funny is I don't even know anyone who's fighting this weekend because I won't be watching it live. So like I don't even really care what. It's 3 o'clock. Oh, maybe I will. I might have to fire this up in the park.
Johnny
For
Walker,
all who
dude.
don't
Volta.
know, I will be live in color at WrestleMania this weekend. So that is that is the big thing on my. Wow, Damon Jackson and Alexander Hernandez.
Yeah,
Damon Jackson sketches me out that he has a black and white picture as his Tapology picture, but it's
Walter Walker.
Wow. Oh my God.
The day's finally here.
Oh my God. Lucas Brzezinski. Fucking body bag day is arrived. Trevor Peake and Charlie Campbell. People are going to be dying on this.
Somebody's dying yet. Jermaine Durandamy, who hasn't fought since COVID, is back.
So she had a baby, right?
Interesting. She had 5 babies. No, I think she had a baby. Norma Dumont, she's fighting her. That's going to be, I don't know what's going to happen there. Cynthia Calvillo is back after losing 25 in a row.
Piero Rodriguez.
Yeah.
When was the last time? Was that last April? Oh, yeah, she got armbarred. Oh, yeah.
Your girl Melissa Tanya Mullins, you've been talking to me about for a while about her. She's making her debut.
She actually impressed on
me. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, the one fight that she was in, she fucking was like an underdog.
Alexieva, Russian Ronda, I guess. But Cesar Almeida, the guy with 4 professional wins, 4 of them, is going to be on this card as well. It's a weird card, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as the one that just happened, which, ironically enough, was in front of a live crowd. Also, let's just get into it, I guess, right?
Yeah, we'll go. We'll start with the Atlantic City, breakdown, sort of. Well, we'll have a. I was already getting ready to start giving picks on this, but we'll have to save that for later on this week. I was like, oh shit, here's Curtis Brandon. No, we're going first. UFC Atlantic City from Boardwalk Hall. Did we both see the fights there when it was Barbosa and Kevin Lee?
Gaethje?
No, that was the one in Philly. But
that was right. I haven't been to an AC one.
The Boardwalk Hall, beautiful place, historic place. I'm kind of lying, but it has its nice little. It's a nice little place. I see the concerts there.
There's been a lot of boxing there for sure.
Yeah, it probably has a lot of historical moments that have gone down there, Tyson fights and all sorts of things of that nature. But first, Ty, we must talk about Manon Fiorot. Erin Blanchfield. I am almost really glad that we didn't do a pod last week because our numbers, it's kind of freezing our numbers the way we have has probably been good for our long-term betting, and it hasn't even really been on purpose because we would, if we had the opportunity, we would have been doing pods. We probably would be down millions of units. We would have been losing money, and it's just, this is a good thing because some of these cards have been bad. The Amanda Hebos, let's just I'm not going to talk about these completely, but that Amanda Hebos Namajunas card was horrible, dude. That was really bad. And there were some good moments in it. The Emin Shabazian and Peyton Talbot is a good kind of guy, but I can't believe Yusuf Zalal got a sub on Billy Q. Just things like that. But listen, I am disappointed in the fact that I think you tweeted this out that maybe Erin Blanchfield, maybe she might not be that good, Ty. I don't know if we maybe overestimated or maybe we were love struck with the takedowns and the just hardcore, intense, smothering grappling that she was displaying in those Talia Santos fights. But I honestly have a couple of ideas or thoughts that we might be able to implement for Miss Blanchfield. But first, I would like to say is Manon Fiorot, I don't see anybody really beating her at 125 because she was so much stronger, so much bigger, so much more physical and powerful than Erin Blanchfield on Saturday night, and she never even really got close to taking her down. That was the alarming thing that I noticed in this fight. And the other thing is Erin Blanchfield doesn't shoot takedowns low at all. She never goes low. It's all body locks. It's all trying to take you down from the upper body as opposed to the lower body, and that was never going to happen in this fight. Manon Fiorot just kept backing up the whole fight. Never really tried to get Erin Blanchfield out of there. She has that kickboxing DNA, that mentality, and she just was counter-striking the whole time, and this is the perfect opponent for her because she was getting, a zombie, and Erin Blanchfield was walking towards her, and she never did quit. She never gave up. She kept going forward, but, your will, more will than skill, I believe, is what you said. It's true, because it seemed like that was the case here. Erin Blanchfield's striking is horrific. It has not gotten better. She's not, I don't know what they're doing, or what's going on. There's no advancement whatsoever. Her striking is just basically walking forward and spamming punches. And that's not going to work against the upper level of the UFC and in this 25 division.
Yeah, man, just very rudimentary striking, which I think we've known, but the way she kind of wades in without really any kind of setup, it's just very reminiscent of Juliana Pena, which is not something we want to see, not something anybody wants to see. And
that's a sentence no one ever wants to hear.
Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to see that. And unfortunately, that's kind of just the reality of her game, I think. And I know I think she's still 24, right? So she's still young. She still has time to improve, but also she hasn't really made that many improvements. She's only 5'4", so the size factor is definitely a disadvantage for her. I just think she might have bottomed out. I don't know what more. I mean, her takedown accuracy is just really, really low. She does get the takedowns. Her striking ratio is decent, but she gets hit a decent amount, and she just doesn't really have any threat really. If we're not on the ground, if we're not, working for submissions and whatnot. It can work against Andrade, Molly McCann, JJ Aldridge, but since then, Talia Santos, that was a pretty close-ish fight.
Oh, yeah.
And then Fiorot, I mean, she couldn't get her down. I believe Fiorot got her down, actually.
She did. But she almost got guillotined, but that was the...
At the end, was it the first round?
End of the first round, she almost got guillotined. Right. It was... she was like...
I was like, good.
Yeah, look, and I was like, wait, why are we taking her? I think she learned. She was like, okay, I probably... maybe I might be better than her on the ground, but I probably shouldn't mess around. That's literally the only way this girl can win.
Yeah. And, Manon Fiorot was pretty much headhunting the whole fight, but it didn't really matter. It was like a light spar, it seemed like, for her. I mean, her movement, her strength, her just overall striking technique. She's so much more technical than Erin Blanchfield. Erin Blanchfield kind of just wades in. She'll throw some body kicks. She'll throw some decent stuff, but it just doesn't have anything behind it, really. There's no setup. There's no technique. There's not really that much skill.
No.
Again, I hate to say it, but she can definitely improve. But I just really hope this is not a situation kind of like Mackenzie Dern, where you're just waiting and waiting and waiting, and you don't really see any improvement.
Yeah, I was just very confused at the lack of I don't know, like the lack of ability to take people. I didn't think she was in that Mackenzie Dern area where it's like she's more of just a jiu-jitsu person as compared to a total complete grappler. I thought her takedowns were it seemed like she hunted the takedown more and more in other fights. Maybe she just wasn't able to really get her down in this fight, and that's a possibility because you saw, I mean, even the couple times she was getting close, Mannion just basically threw her off of her. It wasn't even really a technique sort of thing. It was just more of a, hey, get the fuck off me, little girl. Like, that's what it was. It just seemed like she was so much more of a physical threat than Erin Blanchfield. And maybe Blanchfield needs to go down to 15 or something. I don't know if she could even make that, but I don't see her being able to match up well with a girl of the size and stature of Manon Fiorot. I mean, Manon is what, 5'7", 66-inch reach. She was just kind of picking her apart from the outside, and Blanchfield did good in spurts when she was able to make it ugly and make it kind of just more of a brawl as opposed to a technical battle. But she wasn't able to do that for long enough, and I think she got 50-45'd and maybe even a 50-44 in some way, I don't know, but it was rightfully so. And another thing I'd like to say, the only bad thing about Mannion moving up in the division and being the probably next to fight for the championship after this Shevchenko Grasso fight happens in 2029, her fight style, Ty, is so boring. It is so boring. It has that Israel Adesanya sort of feel to it, where it's just backing up. It's just technique.
It's a lot of French fighters. That's a lot.
It's Cyril
like
Gane.
Of them fight.
Yeah. I mean, other than our boy, BSD.
Who's our boy? Oh yeah,
BSD.
I thought you were talking about my boy. I don't know if you're on the Morgan Charriere train. He fights this weekend. I think he's in the feature bout against who the fuck is he fighting? Somebody pretty decent.
Morgan Charriere.
Yeah, he's fighting somebody decent, but a lot of the French fighters kind of have that style of just, it's a lot of good movement. It's very technical. Chepe, that's gonna be a good fight.
A fucking banger.
It's very technical, but it's there's not much aggression. There's not much going for the kill. It's just constant movement. I'm not going to call it running, but constant movement on the outside and just point fighting, really. So. Not the most exciting. I mean, I'd like to see her against Macy Barber if there's no title fight happening soon, just as a stay busy fight, kind of not a stay busy fight, but Macy Barber's a top 4, top 5 fighter in the weight class. Could even be top 3 depending on how you rank her and Blanchfield. Do you think Macy Barber would beat Erin Blanchfield?
I was just about to ask you. I think the more likely fight to happen would be those two, because
that would be a good one.
Because there's going to be a lot of time between, and there is a real possibility that Mannion could sit on that 2 spot and kind of just wait for her shot, because she would be next after those the Grasso and Shevchenko fight. So, if I'm picking Blanchfield and Barber, or if I was like setting a line, it would have to be probably. I mean, they are really evenly matched. It would probably be like a -120, 130 for maybe Blanchfield, because she's beaten a higher quality of opponent. But
yeah, I would probably go with Blanchfield too, just because I think Macy Barber has been exposed on the ground. Andrea Lee took her down a bunch of times. Amanda Hebos took her down a couple times. So, but she hasn't lost in a long time since Alexa Grasso, who she took down, and then the Roxanne Modafferi fight somehow got dropped, but she also tore her ACL. So, and Macy Barber is much stronger, I think, than Blanchfield, but she also is. I think she's only 5'5", so they're both small.
It'd be a better stylistic matchup for Blanchfield than this for Fiorot fight was.
I would actually like to see that next instead of Fiorot and her. I think Fiorot, like you said, should be waiting for the next title shot whenever that comes. But Blanchfield and Macy Barber, I'm all in on that. I think there's been some talk, some shit talking back and forth between the two, or maybe just one-sided. But I thought I saw Macy Barber say something, or I think maybe Blanchfield said Macy Barber was avoiding her or something. So that maybe that's the route they go, unless
that'd be nice.
I don't think Erin Blanchfield can move down. I mean, I'm not sure, but if she did, she'd automatically be top 3 in the weight class. So maybe that's something she can explore. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, you look at 115, like right away, you could have. I mean, she already beat Andrade at 25, which would be a different story. Up, maybe Amanda Lemos. That would be a fascinating sort of matchup. I don't know. I just at the top. Maybe Blanchfield needs to take like a year off and just work on her game. That's also a possibility or an idea that it's not the worst idea either because, well, like we said, there's some serious holes in her striking and some serious holes in her grappling game, obviously, because she's not able to get people down to the ground that she should be able to get down. And, I mean, she should have been able to, at some point, find a way to get Manon to the ground and hold her down for a little bit. She wouldn't even really come close to it at all. So, good win for Manon. Like I said, she's probably next, and I don't see. I mean, her and Grasso would be a great fight. I don't think. I think Shevchenko. We've discussed this in the past. I think Shevchenko is probably a little bit past it, and maybe I don't think. I think that would be a fascinating sort of fight because the stylistic matchup would be interesting. But I think Fiorot would be bigger, and she would just. I don't really get excited to watch or to think about a Fiorot fight because it's probably going to be a snooze fest of her just probably dominating somebody from the outside. So that's where I'm at right now. How about
also what's up with her right shin?
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you see that? I noticed it when she fought Jennifer Maia as well. It's like a golf ball welt that just exists permanently. So that's kind of interesting.
Probably for just kicking trees and whatever the hell that she does to prepare herself. But how about Joaquin Buckley taking out Vicente Luque? And this is where we start to go downhill. Okay, in this discussion and the kind of breakdown of what happened this past weekend. Luque won the first round, I'm pretty sure, on some of the cards. And in the second round, like I just don't understand, Ty, why you pull guard and then you just cover up and say, you know what, I'm good. Get me out of here. And Joaquin Buckley obliged him and beat the shit out of him. So I just don't understand. Maybe he was hurt and we didn't know it. Like maybe the power had gotten to him. And he kind of realized that this is not the way to win. I can't stand out here on the outside. I'm going to get knocked the fuck out. But I think the worst thing that could happen for this division and for the UFC is just to have Joaquin Buckley kind of be someone that we have to watch fight. Because I truly don't. This is a guy. I'm glad we didn't actually come out here and pick this fight. Because I would have told you after he couldn't get Alex Morano out of there that there's no way he's going to get Luque out of there, and then he does. So
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Did you see him calling out Ariel Helwani?
I saw him call out Anheuser-Busch. That was interesting. He wants them to sponsor him for his next fight.
There's always some guy who wins these fights where I'm just like, he starts saying stuff after, and I'm like, what is he talking about? Bisping literally begging this guy to call someone out, and he calls out a fucking beer company. So
yeah,
that's great.
He wants to be on the St. Louis card, which I hope is not headlined by Nascimento and Derek Lewis. Is that correct? That's
5-round main event.
That's crazy. Buckley's only 29. I think he is making improvements for sure, but I just don't know what his ceiling really is. I mean, he's won 3 in a row, but when he fights that top competition like a Kevin Holland, Imavov, Chris Curtis, he loses. Even back in the day when he fought Logan Storley, he lost. He has a loss to Alessio Di Herico.
Your cousin.
I think he can be. My cuz. I think he can be beaten easily. Not easily, but there's definitely multiple paths to beating him, taking him down, or even just knocking him out. I don't think he has the best chin himself, but I will say he is getting better. He seems electric. Outside the cage, he was hyping up. He had like a little live concert at the Atlantic City pool. That was kind of funny.
Was that from there, or was that actually legit?
I thought it was. Yeah, from what I maybe not, but.
It looked too nice to be Atlantic City. That was my first thought process. But
that could be true. It could have been Miami or something. But I think the main takeaway here is I think Vicente Luque should probably hang him up. We saw something like this in the Jeff Neal fight. The RDA fight was very just, not impressive at all, even though he won. The Bilal Muhammad fight was brutal, and this was just he gave up. He just was like, I'm good. I'm just going to lay here and let him hit. A lot of people said it was fixed. I don't think it was fixed. I just think he's cooked. I just think he's taken so much damage in his career. I mean, the Nico Price fights, but there's 2 of them, right? Yeah. I think there was 2 Nico Price fights. I can only see one. Yeah, there was 2, and they both were wars. The Randy Brown fight, the Wonder Boy beating that he took, the
That was
Bilal
bad.
beating that he took, the Jeff Neal beating that he took, and now the Joaquin Buckley beating he took. I mean, he was just sitting there in guard. He jumped guard, pulled guard, and that was dumb. And then he just took a bunch of shots. He just covered up for like a minute. So why would anybody, what ref in their right mind is going to let that fight go when you're just sitting there?
Yeah.
You don't want to be there. Didn't want to be there at all. The first sign of adversity, he checked out, and I feel bad because this was in his prime, man. Dangerous from so many different ways, on the ground, on the feet, elbows, knees, everything. But I just think he's done, man. It's very unfortunate, but he's only 32. But this game does pass you by quickly, especially when when you have that all action style. So yeah, I think he's done.
I think, listen, I think we may have been tricked by the dominant performance against RDA, and maybe it was more, he was more of the guy, like you mentioned, of these previous fights. I already lost the page, but the Jeff Neal, like we talked about, the guy had a brain injury after the Jeff Neal fight. He got dominated by Bilal Muhammad. That's probably more who he is than he was in that RDA fight, where RDA was just kind of getting spammed, taken down, and that's what I was expecting. Not like that he was going to have easy success, but I thought he was going to try to implement the grappling game a little bit more, or maybe, But Luque, again, is a guy who you cannot trust. We discussed this at length. You can't trust him. Every time you think he's going to do something like this way, he doesn't do it, or he just tries to go to war with some guy, or he just, finds a Darce choke, and you're like, oh, okay, wow, he's good, he's back. And then he gets knocked out, and you're like, oh, okay, well, or he pulls guard against Joaquin Buckley and just covers up, so.
Yeah, insane.
You know what else was insane, Ty, was Chris Weidman. So, Chris Weidman gets what was announced in the ring as a TKO, and was then changed to a unanimous decision, a technical unanimous decision, because of the eye pokes that were the reason that Bruno Silva hit the ground, in comparison to actually getting knocked down with a punch or knocked out. And Chris Weidman double poked him in the eye at the end, which that's a first for me. I've never really seen that happen before, where he pokes him in the one eye, misses or punches him, and then pokes him in the other eye and sends him packing, gets him out of there. And shout out to Gary Copeland. Rough night. What a fucking horrible ref he is. Let me just say that off the rip. Guy had a horrible night. He looks insane. He wears an absolutely way too tight of a shirt. You don't need the. He is jacked. He is absolutely yoked. It is insane how big he is for as small in stature that he is. But hey, man, you got to do what you got to do. Chris Weidman, he looked good in the first round. I thought he lost the second round. That's just my opinion. I think he came back towards at the end, and he started lowering a flurry, and he landed some good shots at the end. But if you saw Chris Weidman's face after the second round, you would be like, wow, who did win that round? It was, I don't know, not one person gave any round to Bruno Silva. I thought at least one person, maybe another person, should have given Bruno Silva that second round. And then for a fight to end, Ty, I don't know how many times I've been on the other side of this, where a guy knocks somebody out and I win money, and then they're like, no. They call a no contest in the cage, and I lose the bet because of it. Now in this one, I have Bruno Silva money line, and I get cooked because he gets quadruple eye poked. And Ty, let me mention, not one time did he get a point taken away. So
nothing.
There is no penalty at all for breaking the rules. There never is. I believe I forgot to mention Joaquin Buckley gets taken down in the first round of that fight, and straight up just grabs the cage in that.
Completely grabbed it.
Just completely grabs with his whole hand, and there's no conversation. Alcohol and cigs just lets it happen. No warning, no nothing. Good to go. Just keep it rolling. Nothing that we get to see on the broadcast, at least. Maybe he went over and said, hey, don't grab the cage. Other than that, nothing. Nothing, okay? So Chris Weidman, then he says, basically Chris Weidman comes out and talks shit after, which...
Insane.
That's absolutely nuts. I understand the guy's fired up. He's excited. He finally won a fight. It's been a while. We've all been saying he's cooked. I've been saying he's cooked. Plenty of
Yeah.
people have been, and he wins, kind of a home game, in front of the people of Atlantic City, about 2-hour drive from where he's from, whatever. It's a bad look, Ty, and I think this should have been a no contest. That is I stand by that 100%. I don't care what the rules say. I don't care what happens, what goes down, and I don't care what he says that Bruno Silva can't just drop to the ground and hope that the ref sees it.
So dumb. That makes no sense. How else is he supposed to react after the 16th eye poke? You want him to just be like, just stand through it. He dropped to the ground because it fucking hurt. He got hit with a 1-2 eye poke.
A literal
Not a jab straight, but a 1-2 eye poke. I'm sure that fucking hurts, man. After the other 4, yeah, he's going to drop to the ground and keep pointing to his eye and whatnot. How's that his fault? To blame Bruno Silva in this instance is absolutely fucking insane. Absolutely insane. Be like, oh man, you shouldn't have done that. It's a bad body language. You can't do that. You can't turn your back and fall to the ground. Like, bro, yes, you can when you get hit illegally. What the fuck does that mean? It's like saying, hey, I kicked you in the balls. You shouldn't have dropped to the ground in pain. You should have just stood there. It's a bad sign to show the ref. Like, bro, what? Just because you won and you want this to be your little moment in AC, everybody in the place was going nuts and was excited. I'm sitting here on Twitter like, wait, what are we doing? What's going on here? Can we not reverse this? Bruno Silva's pointing to his eye, pleading for the blind referee to take a look at the replay or something. I wish we were able to.
And then they do. That's what blew my mind, Ty. They go and look at it, and they're like, yeah, let's just go to the cards.
Yeah. Let's not resume the fight and take a point. Nothing. Let's just go with the decision. The third round wasn't even complete. I think we're maybe halfway through the third, and
he wins that round.
Yeah, he just wins that round.
He wins that round. He doesn't get a point taken away. He does nothing. No penalty at all. So basically, if you're up, just jab somebody with a Ric Flair poke to the eye and hope that the fight ends, and then it won't even be. Oh, they're like, well, he didn't mean to do it. Well, listen. How the fuck do you know? Because he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Sure he is.
Yeah.
After the 4th fucking eye poke, how the fuck can you say he didn't mean to do it? Or he would, be in control of your weapons. How many times have we fucking heard that shit? Apparently there's just no pass. Some guys are good guys. They get the pass. Some guys aren't.
Yeah.
They get fucked. So that's just basically what this is about.
We blame the gloves, which, by the way, do need to be replaced. But
Agreed.
We blame the gloves. We blame Bruno Silva. We blame everybody but Weidman. It's insane. It's insane to me. That's how that transpired. And it was just a parade of, he's getting celebrated by everybody. And I'm just sitting here like, is this real life? Like, are we not going to overturn this? Are we just going to go with a TKO? Or we're just going to go with this? This can't be right. This can't be legal. So I'm glad. I'm not glad. I guess I should say I'm glad they overturned the TKO. But then they give him a technical unanimous decision. I don't agree with that at all. I think that's insane. I hope Bruno Silva appeals it, but I don't think that's going to really matter. Appeals don't really win ever in the UFC. I've
never seen an appeal get overturned.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I think they should run it back, honestly, if anything. But maybe they'll give Weidman a step up. Hopefully we can get that.
Yeah, it was like, for me, to use a wrestling term, it was kind of a Weidman heel turn. To just like, I'm going to be a bad guy now. I won. Fuck that guy, basically. He shouldn't have been such a bitch about it. Basically, what he said. Like, yeah, don't be such a pussy about it. Just take the eye poke like a fucking man. You're like, I don't know about that, dude. But
yeah, man, I tried, but I can't.
Listen,
I can't. When your knuckles in my eyeball, I can't. I have to fall to the ground, bro. It hurts.
The guy gets a pass because his leg exploded. For the last couple of years.
27 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And I felt bad for him, but in this instance,
now he's throwing those kicks, so his leg's fine.
Yeah, and this was a good fight. That's what I was kind of mad about, and I thought, why don't we have this fight happen in Vegas and let's see how the judges score some of these rounds. And the first round was boring. He just kind of held them there, kind of in the hand, all fours on the ground, and didn't really land. He landed some knees to the back of his leg.
Some stalling, yeah.
Yeah, and which, Bruno Silva didn't do shit anyway, so you won that round. Second round was much better, and then that third round, it was too many pokes, though, where you have to penalize these people at some point. And like we said, if you grab the fence when you're getting taken down, I think you should get a point taken away immediately, because there is no excuse for that. Like that, your hand didn't get caught there. Like Joaquin Buckley should have gotten a point taken away immediately because he was trying to stop the takedown. And if he didn't, oh well, I'm gonna take a warning. Hey, don't do that again. Like okay, yeah, sure, no problem. I'm not on the ground, so I don't care. So
funny enough, Keith Peterson didn't even acknowledge it. He was like, "Oh, that's fine."
yeah, no big
Didn't
deal.
happen.
No big deal. So there you go. That's my spirited talk about Chris Weidman. And
you thought it was weird enough. It gets weirder with the next fight.
Oh yeah, Nursultan. Shout out to our boy Nursultan.
There's our boy
Ruzaboyev. How about him, man? Cedric, he gets a eye poke victory again via a uppercut ground punch is what it says on here, but he landed a pretty sick eye poke before this before that went down.
Now that eye poke was pretty gnarly. That went deep into his eye. Now I hate to be biased here, but I don't care because it's Cedric Dumas and he's a scumbag. He's an awful person.
I found that out.
He's been arrested 12 times, so that's insane. He beat the shit out of this girl at a bar once. Remember after the Josh Friend fight, Josh Friend was like, "Hey man, if you ever want to train together, let me know. You'll bounce back. You're a great athlete. You're a great fighter." And he's like, "Nah, fuck you, bro. Fuck you." And he's like, "Okay, well, I just beat the shit out of you, so I don't know what are we doing here? I don't know what we're doing. You want to fight again?" Also, Dumas after this fight told Nursultan, he's like, "Yeah, we're going to run this back." I'm like, "Nah, bro, we're not running this back. You got hit with an uppercut from hell, and you fell like a sack of potatoes. His nose is bleeding, and he's like, "Yeah, we're going to run this back." I'm like, "Nah, man. I think you got your ass beat."
Not too sure about
now
that.
the eye poke was definitely. I don't know how we missed this. I don't know what we're doing.
Well,
I don't know what's going on.
Ribeiro, who I have never seen in my fucking life, is in there.
He fought, I think, way back in the day in M1 Global or kickboxing or something, I believe.
Well, it didn't help his reffing abilities or seeing these eye pokes because
it turns out former fighters aren't the best referees. Who was the other? Was it Chris Lieben or no? Was it Chris Lieben?
Frank
He's
Trigg.
terrible.
Frank Trigg's pretty good though.
No, Chris Lieben was the judge, and he gave some of the worst scorecards
that didn't help.
we've ever seen. Vitor Shaolin Ribeiro. Yeah, he fought. He grappled Gordon Ryan a couple years ago. He fought in K1 Dream. He fought Shinya Aoki. Yeah, he was a kickboxer back in the day. But like maybe kickboxing is what he should referee
because he just ignored the main event. That's what blew my mind here. Like, how the fuck did that guy get the main event? I've never seen him before.
Oh my god! Yeah, like you said, everybody else must have been busy. Herb G must have been in like ACA. They must have had him in Russia doing some fights, but really nothing else to talk about in this fight. Nursultan gets the first round knockout, like we hoped for. I'm sure if we would have bet something, probably would have been this. But beautiful uppercut and beautiful eye poke to set up the uppercut.
What a great eye poke.
And then a couple of ground strikes. He's dangerous, man. He calls out GM3. I think he kind of reminds me of GM3, not in their fighting style, but I think they're going to be gatekeepers. I think they're going to be guys that will win some fights, but also lose some fights. I'm not sure what Nursultan's ceiling really is. There's still a lot of question marks about him. I mean, you look at his record, 34-8-2. You're like, damn, that's kind of crazy. But he's only 30.
Yeah,
he's only 30 right now. He's training in Philly with Jonathan Webb and all them, John Marquez and all those guys. So those are good guys to learn from. He's got 20 subs under his record, under his belt, and only been subbed once. Pretty much all of his losses have come by decision. You think he's on a 10-fight winning streak now? All first round finishes. So it's going to be interesting to see what we got next. What happens if he gets pushed to the second round since he hasn't been there in so long, or if you give him somebody that's better than Cedric Dumas. So good for him. We're excited to see Black. I guess that's his nickname. I'm not sure about that one, but yeah, I don't know. just Black, just the color Black. Excited to see him, and shout out to Uzbekistan.
Shout out to Uzbekistan. Anytime you get the chance to shout them out, it's a great time. So how about another insane?
It's even more weird.
We just keep getting weirder as the card goes down. Another Gary Copeland special here. Kyle Nelson, Bill Algeo. Listen, I don't know if Gary Copeland thought he was doing the WBA championship fight or something like that, but usually in the UFC, bud, they don't stop fights while the guy's still standing. And it has to be like real bad for it to be a standing TKO sort of situation.
Yeah. Kind of like Hebos.
Yeah, and this to me was not as that situation. Kyle Nelson picks up a huge W against Bill Algeo.
That is a big win.
The brothers Algeo and Billy Quarantillo, who I always get confused, both take L's.
It's over.
Yeah, it's a tough time for these guys in the last 2 weeks. It is over for them. But Ty, what did you make of this? I mean, I don't think it would have changed the outcome. I think eventually I mean, who knows though? I really, it just is just such a bad stoppage.
Yeah, I was going back and forth on the stoppage. I don't think it was good. I don't know. I still don't know because I do think that I do think that Algeo wasn't really defending himself, and just because he was standing doesn't mean it was going to get better for him.
Yeah.
Like I think it was probably over. I think he was most likely done. His body language wasn't good. It wasn't good. It was questionable stoppage for a lot of people. I guess I would lean towards letting it go a little bit longer. Wait for him to drop. But what if he drops and he's unconscious? I don't know. It's very tough, but I do think I don't necessarily agree with the stoppage. I do think that he was probably cooked, but again, that's just me assuming. Maybe he wasn't cooked.
Yeah.
Remember who was the fellow that came back? Was it Czech Congo? He was probably cooked.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that fight probably should have been stopped. But
Pat Namajunas, dude, when he knocked out Pat Namajunas.
Yeah, Pat Diddy. But when we've had so many good comebacks, and I guess stopping the fight early would eliminate all those comebacks. So I don't know. Gary Copeland is definitely he definitely likes to stop fights early rather than late, which is good. But there needs to be kind of a middle ground. You don't want to be a Herb Dean or Mario Yamasaki, but you don't want to be a Gary Copeland, I guess, right? So I don't know. But either way, I think Bill Algeo was cooked. The knee was nice. The punches were nice from Kyle Nelson. He looked good. Also, he calls out his baby mama after the fight. Is that what?
That's one of the first times I've seen that one.
That was insane. We had some weird call outs. Michael Bisping just wants people to call out fighters. Ruzaboa says, Gerald Mearshart, as he puts the hat on Bisping. Yeah, GM3. And then,
while Bisping's wearing the hat. Looked insane.
That was so funny. Joaquin Buckley calls out a beer company, and then Kyle Nelson calls out his baby mom. Every what do you say? Every whatever should be 50-50. I don't know what the paternity. No, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but every
child support, like sort of thing.
Every support should be 50-50. Yeah, I was like, that's weird. That's awkward, but good for him, man.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a big
congrats
win.
on the win, Kyle.
So you said you want to get your baby mama in the cage next? Yeah. No, but 3 wins in a row for him. Big win.
What kind of problem do you think your baby mama could possess with you? I have no problem with my baby mama, Michael Bisping. I'm the best in the world. Thank you, Kyle Nelson.
So that was weird. That was really weird, but maybe it was really weird.
I'm so
it
glad
gets
I
weirder.
didn't know.
The next fight gets weird is also weird. But anyway, big win for Kyle Nelson. We'll see what's next for him. He's starting to put some wins together.
How about Chitty getting a decision victory, which that's something I would not have been able to lock down in my scorecard whatsoever, because the couple times I've seen Chitty out there, it looked like his gas tank was just radically fading as fights went on. I mean, the old Zachock fight, it looked like he ran out of gas 2 minutes into the fight, so that was pretty wild. He lost to Albert Duraev, which that's the machete. That's never good. But listen, he takes a victory here, a dominant win, supposed to be, but it winds up going to a split decision against Reese McKee. Ty, did you agree with the scorecards here? I heard you tweet. I saw you tweet out and say I had Reese McKee 30-27. So I was like, wow, that's a little interesting. But no. In all seriousness, I mean, what a joke that is.
Yeah, so he won. So all Reese McKee did this entire fight was try to stall against the cage, and he couldn't get Chidi down at all once. Right? Let's look at some of these stats. It was just a very boring fight. And I don't necessarily blame Chidi. He doubled him up on strikes. He looked okay. I mean, what can you do? Reese McKee was 0-7. He had 6 minutes and 41 seconds of control time, all against the cage. That's so bad. Keith Peterson probably was just like, "Oh, you guys are good. You guys are doing good over here." So
Keith was already thinking about what he's going to play tonight at the blackjack table. He's like, "What's the strategy going to be?
Red or black?" So this person, Mamuna Querido, I don't know if it's a man or a woman. Don't know and don't care. Gave the first 2 rounds to Reese McKee. Are you out of your mind? What? There's not one scorecard from the media that gave Reese McKee more than 1 round, and hardly any gave him 1 round. I think it might have been probably the first, if I had to guess, the first or the second. Probably the second because there was more control time. I don't even know. Like, he did nothing at all.
So
the first round,
I
second
have
round.
information, Ty, on Mamuna Carrino.
Yeah, sure.
She competed as Muna Holland in the in MMA. Okay, she was in Bellator and Invicta FC. Her last fight was against Nina Ansaroff in 2013, and she got knocked out in Kansas. But she is, I believe, from this area. She's from New Jersey, trained out of Tiger Schulman's mixed martial arts. So there's the information, all the information that I could possibly get up on her.
Yeah.
So
She's fire,
I'm also
in my
confused as to what fight she was watching. I don't know if she was even in the area. I don't know. That's.
Is she watching from home?
Yeah, was she watching
Also,
this
there's a
fight
long
remotely?
Once they come back from like 13 commercials, and Brendan Fitzgerald, who I love, by the way, is like, well, Bruce Buffer is still not in the cage. I'm like, what do you mean? Where is he? Is he getting a hot dog? What is he doing? Is he taking pictures with fucking, the local Washington Township boys that are at the car? Is he getting a fucking gelato? Where is he?
Bruce has headed to the casino floor. He will be back in 5 minutes.
Maybe by then we'll have some clarity. He looked at the scorecard and said, wait, she gave rounds 1 and 2 to who?
Yeah.
He probably tried to change the score so there wasn't a split. But also, I want to circle back. Sal D'Amato did give round 1 to Vicente Luque, which I don't understand how that happened. But we'll get to him, too. He's got another one to answer for. One of the worst scorecards I've seen in a while. But when it comes to this fight, yeah, that's pretty much it, right? I mean, there was nothing really else to talk about besides Miss Carrino.
Horrible scorecard, yeah. So shout out to her.
Yeah, never see her again. Hopefully, she stays in AC.
Hopefully, we never see her on a scorecard ever again. How about performance of the night, Ty? One of the performances of the night. Nate Landwehr, man. This guy is a absolute firecracker of a fighter every time he gets in there. Gets dropped, comes back, knocks out Jamal Emmers. Jamal Emmers, man, it just seems like this guy can't catch a break, man. Every time he starts to get it going, it just turns on him very quickly. And what was the last time out? He absolutely dominated Mr. Bazooka. Bazooka. I cracked myself up. I remember when he beat that Ashkabab guy who was a fucking fraud.
Ashkabab.
Yeah,
he got released, I believe.
Well, as he should have, because he was not a real fighter. But we never. And then I think 4, 5, 6 fights got canceled after that for him. So he was going to fight Joe Anderson Brito. He would have gotten killed. But listen, what a win for Nate Landwehr, and this was a firefight.
Yeah, he almost got finished early. Not finished, but like Emmers hurt him quick. And man, Emmers has some potential, but it's untapped. And I don't really know if he'll ever tap into it. He's 20-8. He's 34 years old. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted twice. He's just reckless. He's too reckless. Kind of reminds me a little bit of T-Rex, Terrence McKinney, where it looks like things should make sense, but they don't. Like he has these punches that come from fucking left field. Even if it's a little unorthodox, it can still work for sure. But he kind of, when he does that, it kind of throws him off balance, and then he gets put in these situations. Boom. Nate Landwehr lands this nasty uppercut. He was trying to land some knee. He was doing really well in the clinch too. Let me try to find these clinch stats. Anytime he was getting close, I'm like, damn, Jamal, like you got to back away from him. You have the advantage here. Yeah, he got out clinched, outstruck in the clinch 9-3, and then I think it was that uppercut, beautiful uppercut that rocked him, and that was pretty much it, right? It was the uppercut to right hook, and then hammer fist on the ground, and he was done. Laid out flat on his back, and huge win for Nate. He said, "If you whoop my ass," what did he say?
I don't even remember.
He said, "If you whoop my ass, I'm going to keep coming," or something like that. I got to find the exact.
No, this guy, your voice is starting to betray you, dude. What's going on here?
Oh yeah, I feel like ass. Everybody in the city is sick, so that's good. He said, "Whoop my ass and see what happens." So if somebody says that to me, I'm fucking terrified. Yeah. Nate Landwehr. It's still kind of crazy that Nate Landwehr was knocked out clean by Herbert Burns.
Yeah.
But I guess the knees are what really is what puts him out. So I don't know what's next for Nate. He's 35. It's not going to get better from here. He's going to, if he wins fights, he's going to get tougher competition, like a Dan Ige, somebody that can probably put him out. But I mean, he's here for a good time, not a long time, and he's got a lot of fans. I'm always excited to see him fight at 145. 145 is a great division, so deep, very similar to 155. So whatever else he's got in the tank, let's see it.
How about Virna Jandiroba getting the W against Lupi Godinez? This would have been my underdog pick of the night, just because I think Virna, if you're gonna try and outlast her with the grappling game and just try to outlast her in general, I've seen her kind of put on some really stellar performances since she lost to Amanda Hebos. Angela Hill, which it's a good kind of a test to kind of see where you're at, and then going and dominating Marina Rodriguez the way she did, and then kind of just dominating Lupi in the way she did. She is going to be a tough out for anyone. I don't know, is she ranked? Yeah, well, that's a stupid question because I just saw that. Yeah, she's pretty high up in the straw weight. She is at number 5 now. I don't know if where did this fight happen at 115, right? Because Lupi is so fucking small. So that's a good win for Virna, and I think maybe one more and then a title fight. I don't know, maybe a Amanda Lemos or something along those lines. But she is right there on the cusp of a title shot.
Yeah, which is crazy,
Just
but
to show you what's going on there. But
yeah, she's 35. She's 20-3, and she's boring.
She is boring. Nothing to be denied there.
Yeah, this fight was just a lot of nothing. She got outstruck, but she got takedowns. She almost had a couple rear naked chokes.
Yep.
She was 27. She only hit 27% of her significant strikes, but the problem was, Lupi couldn't do anything. They landed 30 punches each at distance, and I think Lupi just got out hustled. Really, is kind of what happened, which is kind of tough. Doesn't really happen to her too often, but like you said, dude, she's just too small, man. I mean, Virna is not the biggest, but she's got some strength, got some height, got some reach on her, just enough for her to cancel out anything that she can do. So I don't really know what Lupi can do here. I think she just has to fight at 105, which isn't a UFC division, but she did win 4 in a row. But if you look at who she fought, Calvillo, who was cooked, and that was a split. Emily Ducote, who stinks. Elise Reed, who stinks, and Tabitha Ritchie, and that was close. Who's very similar to Lupi and where they're just very small. So, yeah, man, big win for Virna for sure. I mean, she just keeps, stacking up wins. Nothing wrong with that at all. Even if they're boring, who cares? You keep winning fights. That's all that matters. So, good win for her. Bad loss for Lupi. She's just gonna have to keep resetting the page, and who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Just kind of going to keep shuffling the deck down there at 115 until eventually something shakes out and we figure out what's next for all of these people involved. But like you go down to 115, Lupi's at 10. She could fight anybody from 5 to, or I guess Virna's 5, 6 to 15, and you'd be like, okay, that's cool.
Sure, yeah, why not?
Exactly. And Virna could fight anybody from underneath her to above her, and you'd be like, okay, cool. Who cares, right? Because nobody really. Like that fight was so boring that you just don't care. That's truly what it is. But how about Julio Arce eliminating Herbert Burns from hopefully the UFC roster? Gary Copeland takes a point away in this fight. Interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, finally with the low blow. Was there multiple?
Back to back. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
first
back
one
to
he
back,
said,
right?
it was just accidental. Just accidental. I like how Gary Copeland is I like the way he talks. He voices himself. Herb Dean doesn't say a fucking word. It's good that he communicates. Now everything else about Mr. Copeland is questionable, but he is communicative. Maybe that's a word.
Communicative? I don't know. Yeah,
sure, something.
Why not?
He's like, all right, first one was accidental. That's fine. Like 3 seconds later, boom, another one right to the huevos. And he's like, all right, bro, we're taking a point. And what Sal Diamato says? Nah, man, that's a 9-9 round. He gave the first round to Herbert Burns.
Yeah,
Are you out of your mind?
That's a Sal Diamato special. This is the one you were talking about when you when you were like, yeah, I have another bone to pick with Mr. Sal Diamato.
And so you look at the strikes, and Herbert Burns outstruck him technically, but he didn't land any of the bigger shots. All the bigger shots came from Arce, and Herbert Burns stalled for most of that round, and he threw multiple illegal knees. The best shots he landed were illegal. And then the second round comes and Julio Arce dust him off. That was good to see. Good win for Mr. Arce. It seems like it's been a while since he got a win. Since 2020, it's almost 2 years since he got a win over Daniel Santos. Losing to Montel Jackson, losing to Song Yadong. Yes, his losses are pretty tough. Shayman Moraes was brutal, but he even, I think he got dropped twice and came back and almost won that fight. Lost to Hakeem Dawodu. That kid's pretty talented, so it's like, and that was a split. So I like Arce. I think he's a little old, so
got to make weight. That's the big problem as well.
He has to make weight. He's missing weight at two different 135 and 145. That's not good. He has a 96% takedown defense. That's very impressive. So I wish he was a little younger. I wish he could make weight. I wish he could figure it out. Maybe he moves up to 155. That'd be kind of cool. I do like Julio Arce, so this was cool seeing him win, seeing him get the knockout, especially over Herbert Burns.
How about Dennis lands a bazooka on Connor Matthews' chin with a left hook in the third round, gets him out of there. Connor Matthews, I liked him. I don't know, like he was a Contender Series guy. Is that correct?
Yeah, he beat that Farias guy. He gave him his first L.
I remember thinking, like, damn, this guy's not that bad. I kind of like him, but he was overmatched in this fight, 100%, and this was a good win for Mr. Bazooka.
Yeah, landing a bazooka. I like that. Also, Conor McGregor tweeting, there can only be one Conor with one N in the UFC. Meanwhile, Conor Matthews has two N's in his name, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But
yeah, I mean, come on. Conor was lost in the sauce at that time of night, dude. It's probably
I can't believe he was even watching that fucking
Turn the fucking fights on!
Mate, let me get a proper 12 and some fights on the
telly.
Turn
the fucking fights on, mate.
I need to see Conor Matthews. Conor Matthews probably very excited for getting a Conor McGregor shout, but then he got dropped and hammer fisted, so that sucks. But I Bazooka also, this is a big win for him. A lot of people picked up much needed wins on this card after getting smoked by Jamal Emmers and losing a decision to Sean Woodson. Also lost to Melsik Bogdasarian. He's kind of been matched up pretty tough. Yeah. Even the guy on the Contender Series was supposed to be tough. Khalil Romero, he was pretty decent. So good win for him here. Another 145. Just action fighter, really. So continuing the trend at featherweight. And, big win.
Big win for Mr. Bazooka. Another big win in the sense for the last Ottoman. Ibo Aslan. This guy is a scary-looking gentleman. 205 pounds, 6'3", 77.5-inch reach. This fight was, I was entertained by this fight. I wasn't 100% locked in on it because I was in the vehicle, so I'll just say that. But listen, this was another one where the people were like, "Hey, I don't know if this was a good stoppage." Turkali, the pleasure man, had gotten kind of rocked, fell back on his butt, and then Gary Copeland stepped in. I am going to back up Gary Copeland in this one because I thought it was a good stoppage. I think the only thing that would have happened here is Turkali going out cold bad and getting hit with a rocket of a right hand as he ran across the cage to finish him off. I think this actually was a good stoppage by Mr. Copeland and a good win for Mr. Oscar.
Yeah. This is how the night. Well, the night was weird before this.
Yeah.
But this was when everybody started hating on Gary Copeland. I was like, I saw people saying that, Turkali was on his butt and he was trying to push himself up. I'm like, bro, he didn't even after the fight was stopped, he still sat down. He was still in that same position. He didn't get right back up. It's not like it's somebody who immediately protests the fight. He didn't protest the fight really at all. He was rocked from that big right hand. And, dude, he had his hands, his arms were extended behind him, palms down on the cage. Like, he had no defense. His face was right there to be hit. And Ibo Aslan was about to hit him with nuclear Oppenheimers. And he would have went out cold. 1,000,000%. Again, I don't like to assume.
No, this was no doubt. No doubt
about it. And the ref stepped in at the perfect time, I thought. I mean, if you want to see a dead body, that's one thing, but
that's what somebody tweeted. They're like, I don't understand when people complain about some of these stoppages. Do you just want to see people die? And that's what I think some of it is, honestly.
I mean, think of what a UFC fan is, right? Trailer Park boy. They want to see dead bodies. So it makes sense, but I had no problem with this stoppage at all. This was the highlight of Gary Copeland's night. It only got worse, sadly, for him.
Yeah, this was the only good Well, yeah, I mean, pretty much one of the only good ones that he had. He didn't have a horrible night when you really think about it. I really just think the Weidman one was bad. That was just, so you got to do something. I mean, taking the Herbert Burns point was the right move. Like he had a couple good ones, but
A couple bad ones.
just get a bigger shirt. That's all I ask, and then I won't hate on you as much. How about Jacob Malkoun, Andre Petrosky? This was a night full of bizarre shit. Andre Petrosky, I think, knocks himself out on Malkoun's hip. Nobody really knows what happened here.
Maybe a heel to the throat?
Heel to the throat. There's a punch that lands. Yeah, so who knows? But all I know is Petrosky backed up like he got hit with a hammer, fell down, and then that was it.
It looked like I saw a picture of the top of his head. There's like a nice little cut. I'm like, where did that come from? I don't think it came from the punch, but maybe it was a combination of the punch and the hip headbutt. The hip butt. I don't know. That was fucking weird. The fact that Jacob Malkoun gets a TKO win makes me want to throw up.
That's insane.
But he does. He does. I mean, that's his first. Yeah, it's his first UFC finish. Other than that, he beat Dobson, Al Hassan, and Maximov by boring decisions. Man, remember Phil Halls put Jacob Malkoun out in like 10 seconds? That was wild. Yeah, every Jacob Malkoun fight's weird. The Cody Brunage illegal elbow.
Yep.
And Andre Petrosky fights are weird too. So hopefully Petrosky bounces back. I know a couple people that know him personally that have trained with him. So I'd like to see a local guy get it right. But I don't know what the fuck
happened. He won the
happened.
first round, so you can't really. It's not like he got it was getting dominant. I mean, the thing about Petrosky is though he does not take a punch well. It just seems like every time the man gets hit, he starts wobbling or. The body language is just not good. So that's the only thing that was a little concerning in this fight. But he was getting takedowns, and that wrestling is still powerful. Like he still is able to get people to the ground. This is just a weird kind of. I really have a tough time really getting mad at them or saying that they earned this loss. I don't really think he did. This is just a unfortunate circumstance to go down. So how about this, Ty? Let's go, baby. The Don. The Don took care of business against Angel Pacheco in a domination. Domination. I think he won what? 30-20, what? 30-27? 30-27?
I think it was 30-27.
30-26 on one card. David Torelli.
Oh, wow.
How about David Torelli?
Yeah, what was he watching?
I don't know. I think he was watching this fight because he was watching the Don. He was mesmerized by the Don getting things done. Just wanting to throw hands and go to war. That's what the Irish are all about. Way to get it done, Mr. Don. Thank you, Mr. Don.
Mr. Don. Yeah, he almost got finished in the third round, too, so you better watch his fucking chin while he's at it. Mr. Don Julio. Angel Pacheco wasn't game. I don't know why he got signed. He had a good fight with Danny Silva, but he didn't win. He got dropped, and he got taken down a couple times. He's also not young, right? I think Angel Pacheco's like 33. Let's look at his name.
32.
It's a record 32, and he's 7-3 now. So, also lost to Nasty Nate Williams on the regional scene. I don't know why they signed this fella. He hasn't beat anybody good, and the Don ran through him like it was nothing. But the Don almost got smoked at the end, so you got to watch out for him. He's what, 5'1"? No, 5'6". Sorry. So I think the Don has some.
Show the Don some fucking respect.
Yeah, no. Taylor Lapalus treated him like he should have. It's funny because I feel like the Don wasn't looking for takedowns nearly as much as I thought he would, or at least he was 3 of 4. But I think in his first fight with Mr. Lapalus, he was spamming takedowns. He was 2 of 11. So maybe just a different strategy here. I'm not sure what it was. I mean, he fought a striker and he tried to strike with him. Wish he would have got dropped in that third round and finished, but hey, next time we're betting against him.
Don does what a Don wants to do, so that was the only thing you need to know about this fight. How about Nate Landwehr getting 50,000, Mr. Bazooka getting 50,000, and Aslan and Turkali getting 50,000 each for fight of the night. There was only 3 refs who worked the whole night. That's pretty ridiculous, but there it is, ladies and gentlemen. UFC Atlantic City. Ty, I saw we had a tough loss this past week. Our boy Tim Tszyu took an L.
Yeah, man, that was actually a really fucking crazy fight. So he gets hit. So he dives in, and he's short, and Sebastian Fundora is like 6'6", and Tim Tszyu ducks his head in, and he just he hits his head against Fundora's elbow, and that cut, I was honestly surprised it wasn't called, because it was just the corner work was not great. Tim Tszyu's corner was not great. I forget who it was. I think it was Stitch Duran, the legendary Stitch cut man for the UFC and boxing. He called out Tim Tszyu's corner. He said he didn't think they did a good job at all. I didn't think so either. They were just They were just putting on a big glob of fucking whatever it was on top of the cut, thinking that would help, and then it just immediately starts bleeding right away without even getting hit. So that was not good. And it was close. It was a close fight, but I do think Fundora won. Probably one of the best fights of Sebastian Fundora's career. 6'5" he is.
It's insane.
The towering inferno. If you look at his sister, if you look at his sister, dude, she's like 6 foot fighting at 112. It's like, what the fuck? So Gabrielle, she's pretty good too. Gabriella, maybe. This is the best Fundora ever looked, man. He was using his range. He was using his jab. The uppercut coming from that far away is so undetectable, it seems like. Errol Spence comes into the ring after the fight, says he wants to fight Fundora. Kind of confused by that, because Fundora's mandatory is now Terrence Crawford. And Terrence Crawford was his mandatory before was supposed to be Spence, but they're going in different directions. I don't know. Not sure what's going on. Tim Tszyu, I believe, was also mad at how his corner handled the cut. The whole card, I would say, was good. A lot of people, there was a lot of good feedback from the first Amazon Prime card. I mean, the pacing was amazing. The co-main event, Rolly Romero gets fucking smoked. Love seeing that. Isak Cruz, dude, he was doing the chicken dance in the first round. Rolly Romero was. Isak Cruz, biggest win of his career. Erislandy Lara gets a quick knockout in the feature bout against Michael Zarafa. What else happened? Julio Cesar Martinez, big win over Angelino Cordova. Hermel Moten, he's like 18 years old. He fought. Funny enough, Brian Mendoza, the guy who beat Sebastian Fundora, knocked him out, one of the biggest upsets and knockouts of the year, gets absolutely battered on the prelims by Sergey Bohachuk. That was a good fight. And all in all, I would say the first PBC on Prime card was a success. The fights were very good. The pacing of the fights was excellent. The crowd was an A++, almost 15K in attendance. Once the fight was stopped, the crowd went ballistic. It was so cool to watch. So cool to see. I didn't see anybody say they had issues with the stream at all. I didn't have any issues with the stream at all. I thought it was going to be free, not pay-per-view, but hey, what are you going to do? So I hope they keep it rolling. Yeah.
That's annoying.
So, yeah, it's a little annoying. But hey, we got illegal streams. But I hope they keep it rolling, honestly. Yeah, from what they said. But I hope they keep it rolling, dude. That was really, really good. I'm excited for, what the future holds for, the live streaming sports, if you will.
So that was this weekend's action. We will have an episode coming up this week to kind of discuss. There's a KSW coming up this weekend as well. I know you were locked in on Velour. I don't even know how the fuck you say this guy's name. He's 38-1. Valerio Merceya. There you go. That's good luck saying any of these guys' fucking names. But yeah, there's KSW. We will get into the UFC, like we said, from the Apex. Brendan Allen, Chris Curtis running it back from their first fight. When was the last time they fought? This was
it was a minute ago. I think he finished Brendan Allen, no?
Chris Curtis got finished by Chris Curtis finished him. Finished Brendan Allen with a punches and knees. This was 2021. You know what the main event for that fight was? Rob Font versus Jose Aldo.
Sheesh. Also, dude, you forgot to mention Saladin Parnassian, unless you did and I just wasn't listening, is the guy fighting Mr. Valerie Mercedes.
I didn't want to even attempt to say that guy's name after I failed saying the other guy's name. So I just.
But he's one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best non-UFC fighters in the world. So that'll be good to see how he looks. Hopefully, he keeps his belt at lightweight, and I think he should come over to the UFC right after. But we shall see. But
then the week after, you got some PFL going on. Then we have our UFC 300. We will have a big.
I believe we have PFL 1 this week, right? This Thursday, we have the first episode, the first week of the season, I guess, this year. Anti-Delija, Valentin Moldavsky in the main event, Linton Vassell, Dennis Goltsov, Liz Carmouche, Juliana Velasquez. I think they're running back for the third time, right? Yeah. Yeah, this is the third time they're fighting, so that's cool. Marcelo Golm, Blago Ivanov, he's stepping up on the prelims. Tyler Santos is also on the prelims. So is Shanna Young. I think this is Anthony Ivy's brother also. And this guy, Bryce Meredith, I believe he was an All-American wrestler at Wyoming. He's on this card too. So you see what PFL is trying to do. Actually, I don't know what PFL is trying to do. Yeah, she's fighting Ilara Joan on the prelims. Arya Stark is her nickname.
I totally forgot that she was not in the UFC anymore.
For whatever reason, that's her nickname. So she's going to be fighting Tyler Santos. Probably going to get battered. Steve Mulry and Oleg Popov. That's her nickname. I don't understand why. Chelsea Hackett, Jenna Bishop. This is a deep card. I mean, I don't know what we're doing here with the PFL seasons, but we're doing it. We're at the Boeing Center. I'm not sure where that's at.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Shani Young. She hasn't won a fight since Obama was in office. So actually, she hasn't won last year. What am I talking about?
Yeah, well, we weren't really tuned into the PFL Challenger Series, so I think that's fair. She also beat Gina Mazzani in 2022, so shout out to Gina Mazzani, who is a scumbag. All right, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. On that note, we get out of here. This has been the Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast, brought to you by the Hot Take Hotbox. We are back. We are here to stay. We are going nowhere. Hopefully, maybe we'll do another couple episodes this week. We'll definitely do a UFC breakdown. Maybe we'll knock out a sports episode. We got plenty to talk about. Hassan Reddick is a New York Jet now, so we'll have an awful lot to get into. Phils are struggling. I'll have plenty of thoughts on them. Embiid maybe comes back tonight. Who knows?
Embiid's back. Flyers dropping a huge game to the sorry-ass Blackhawks. Oh, my goodness. That was bad.
Lots of embarrassing stuff going on right now.
But it could be worse. You could be a Mets fan, right? We're a Marlins fan.
You could be a Mets fan. You could be Jeff McNeil yelling at Rhys Hoskins.
Rhys Hoskins. Yeah, that was wild.
Embarrassing. So until then, my name is Matt McSweeney.
I'm Ty Capone.
And as always, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure to just enjoy life.